Doing? Happy Friday. Yeah. It's like noonish my time. I don't know what time it is for you. Welcome. We will talk about something I've spoken about in many videos, but they might not be up anymore. Huh. In fact, they're probably not. But let's try to address it here. Um, Everything that we've been told about anything is nonsense at best. If it could be just wrong, or it could be outright wrong on purpose. What's up, Jonah? So how if someone were to give you a map and maybe even directions, yet the map and the directions didn't suit. What's up, David Mannion? So you take the map, you take the directions, and you follow them, and you're late to where you got to go. You can't find it, and the person's like, "Oh, well, why aren't you here? I expected you here at this time." And you go, "Well, you gave me a map that's not right, and you gave me directions that are wrong." But then yet they still Babarui. What's up, Skull? But then, see, we live in this realm where that's what we're given constantly. We're given wrong information about everything. And then yet, when you come up to the conclusion that, oh, here, that's wrong, people are like, no, that's not wrong, that's right. And then you follow directions, and it's like somebody give you a recipe to make a cake, and it doesn't turn out right. You're like, I followed the recipe. And they expect you somehow to make the cake anyways. Well, you should have just done it. But how many times in this realm, this place that we live, we have maps that are inaccurate. Not even inaccurate, but it's complete, utter, as far as we can tell. It's false on purpose. How many things are we told? How much of the history book's really true? How much of it is just lightly massaged or heavily altered, an altered history? And anything that you would consider alternative, like alternative history, alternative medicine, if that's how people can even call it that these days, you'd call it the natural path. No good. That's no good. Don't take the nature's path. Take how do you make food, right? Conventional food. That's not convenient nor conventional at all. It's actually chemically altered and it's processed. Like, what, from the food to the maps to the history to the terribly faulty science that we're given. Science as a methodology is great, but what we're given is popular scientism. There's a billion different demigods and religions. There's 101 opinions within a science community on one particular idea. But then we're if we don't maintain the popular narrative that's being spoke, even if it's so plainly obvious, it's so plainly wrong. I was trying to the other day. I was trying to explain to somebody what a goof I am, right? It was on Instagram, obviously. Don't do that. Don't argue on Instagram. It's not worth it. It wasn't really an argument. It was just funny. Somebody said it was a simple math problem, and the person went into doing extra math, and I'm like, it's so blatantly obvious that what I'm saying is this is the correct answer, and I'm positive of it, and I got 50 people going, no, you got to add this and square root of this, and you got to make it. I was like, no, that's you're taking a long route to sound smart when the simple answer is right there. and this is what you do, and you just people just they really believe it. Like, you could, if you told somebody, it's like hypnotism. Do you know how hypnotism works? Have you ever been a hypnotist show? Have you ever studied it? It's a psychology where you could get somebody to see the sky as being red, even though clearly, as an objective reality, we could pretty much universally say, as an objective reality, that it's blue. But if you hypnotize people, and people have been hypnotized from birth to believe in things that are just not true in any way. I'm not talking about like everything is subjective. Everything's your opinion. Everything's like, that's your opinion, man. Everything has its variables. And it's like, Well, you have two eyeballs. Yep. You know, you have two nostrils, two ears. It's pretty much temple proper. This is how your body's built, and everybody's pretty similar. We can. You got a brain in there, right? So we can kind of go to the point of saying, okay, you are there, and I'm here, and there's a bed there, and there's a wall there, and there's a ceiling there, and there's these are. We can agree on these. You can't like right now. You can't just tell me it is raining a cat and a dog. It's not. It's outside. Perhaps there might be a dog falling out of the sky somewhere. Could be. Somebody maybe threw it off a roof. Maybe it jumped off a balcony somewhere. So a dog could be raining from the sky. That could be true. But in here, this just doesn't seem to be raining, and that's not happening. So objectively, we say, well, that's just your opinion. This is where we are, where everything has become so liberal with opinions that now we have how many different genders, supposedly, how many different. Well, that's your point of view. But yet, they want you to accept that everything is okay, fine, then accept my point of view. They don't want your point of view. They just want theirs, which is everything is this, like the way we need it. But if you have they would call it an opinion. I'm like, oh, I'm dealing with a fact here. I'm just looking at something, and this is okay. How about this? Here's how I like to explain to people. You want to have an opinion. You want to just everything is just as airy fairy and subjective as you'd like it to be. All right. I'm going to hand you a pillow and a brick, and I'll let you hit me with the pillow. And you know which one's the pillow. I'm gonna point to it. I'm gonna give it to you, and that's gonna be what you're gonna hit me with. And I'll accept that. And I'm gonna take the brick and hit you in the face. You're going to tell me that you wouldn't want to switch objects there, so you didn't receive a brick to the face. This is what everybody does. Oh, but then now we can objectively, tangibly assess what we would consider an actuality, a reality, this realm. But no, we don't have that. That's not. Now it's like even that people have just argued. Well, what if the brick was made of feathers? You know, now we got to play that game, that semantics game. That's a fun one. It's fun to play if you're playing around with words and being cutesy wootsy with humor, but you know. Well, welcome. Who else is up in here? The divine. Oh, dude. No, seriously, without question, everyone I know is dealing with that right now. Everybody. It's a universal thing. It's because of the thing that we can't put. I don't want to get my thing chopped here, but you know why. There's stuff going on in the stuff that people are putting in their person, and it's causing people mass. I mean, then you have just general life issues that people deal with, and then you have moon, sun things, and energies, and planetary. You know, all that goes on. But yeah, everybody's just universally, we're just dealing with more and more of the. Like a friend of mine I was talking to the other day, I haven't talked to her in a bit, and I was like, oh, your voice is sounding mad raspy. She's like, yeah, I've been just fucking yelling because people. She's like, I just had to go out to I just went out to the woods and just screamed because it's almost, it's like talking to a brick wall with people. It's like talking to an empty. It's like people just don't, like, wow. Like, I don't know how many people have just, like, literally family members that they were, like, good family members, like, they were friends with and whatever. They're like, well, I can't, if you don't go and get then I can't interact with you. You're just sick, you're a sick part of the whole society. You're just disgusting. I'm like, Ray, wow. And that's on many different levels. That's always been an underpinning. People are like, yeah, you get different. Now it's scientific these days, and so a lot of people just been dealing with that nonsense. Bunch of people. Yeah. Ah, nice skull, a sirloin, and a corona. See, breakfast past 6. What up, David, man? Oh yeah. I've had some funny things occur recently. Like, I mean, As usual, I have lots of funny stories about things. Um, I don't know if I told you the pool story. One old lady apologized after like just geeking out on me and told me she took her curse off of me. It's so funny. Just people are just they it was straight. I think the portal from another realm opened, and maybe technologically and maybe spiritually people's bodies were taken over. Isn't that like isn't that some old film, um, the Body Snatchers kind of thing? Like people just you're like, nah, this is not. I don't. Where is your brain? Is this your brain always work this way or something else? No, your brain just doesn't function anymore. Like it's not like there was literally like some sort of kill switch in like like on a engine just shut off the whole thing. Like people's brains just don't seem to work at all. Like have you ever you're looking at somebody and it's like deer in the headlights kind of thing. And in the past, you do that because people are kind of people are not smart. They're just kind of or maybe they're thinking about something else, a long day, just tired of the grind at work. That happens. But no, I'm talking about like a full on like people are not even. So and to further exasperate, is that the word exasperate? This idea is that everything. How is it that anybody can make a quality? I'm not even gonna say the right decision, but how do you even make a quality decision in this life? Let alone right decision, if there is such a thing. And the only right and wrong I see is don't kick a puppy down a flight of stairs unless that puppy has rabies and is attacking a baby. Then kick the puppy. Other than that, I think we can pretty say that's a wrong thing to do. But once again, subjective. But with all the misinformation we've been given, if you were given misinformation on how to do math problems, your math teacher just gave you the wrong formula, and that's how you were doing the math, and it came out wrong, and then you failed the test. Like, why would you think of doing it any other way? And if we're and sometimes it's on accidents. These things happen, and but the more we start to take a closer gander at the way reality is set up, it seems to be almost all is a there's a like an fly. Seems scripted. It seems like purposeful that people are deceitful. It pays to be deceitful and dishonest. It appears that way, at least. I mean, but maybe there's other things going on. What is the noble lie? That the whole noble lie. If anybody doesn't understand that, I mean, if like right now, if say we lived on a ball and there was going to be a meteor hit the Earth, would you tell anybody? No. If you knew such that would happen in like 10 days, would you like tell everybody now? No. You would just cause more chaos going on right here with everybody. Everybody be up in arms and people fighting and violence and blah blah blah. But so you'd be like, all right, well, it's gonna destroy Earth anyway. So what the? Is anyone gonna stop that? Somebody at NASA want to go fly up in a spaceship and take care of that? No. But other than that, because I don't think I think that's just an excuse for people to manipulate. I think they just use the word the noble lie to manipulate populations because. I mean, who started that? I mean, it's been going on for millennia, obviously, but the major ones were Bernays. Other people wrote books on what was occurring, and they'd be like, "Oh man, like Brave New World, Huxley, and they're all part of this thing." Like, no, they're telling you what would occur if like this is what society is doing. This is they're not telling you so you go, this is what's going to happen. It's like it's just that's how it. Here, let's play it this way. If you give me an all-pro basketball team to play against a bunch of third graders in wheelchairs, you can gamble any way you want. But if I just say, I think I know what's going to happen here, you know what I mean? Like that's just, and that's the narrative that they're using. Like, yeah, well, I mean, like obviously, if Huxley writes this, it's like it's not because it's so difficult to See, but here's the thing: is he has a vantage point of going, well, shit. Could you imagine in 1980 telling somebody that you thought the realm was not shaped like a ball? You would have just been an absolute, like, now, at least they ridicule. At least the move is ridicule. What is that? First is to ignore, then to ridicule, and then finally acceptance or something like that. They accept it as, oh, it was always a fact. That kind of thing. So, like, I don't know, man. Like, we're just we have the internet. We have so much information. Like, I'd said something to somebody today about, man, don't you get it, sports are rigged. Well, can you link me with the thing? I was like, why am I going to do your research? Obviously, if I linked you to something, you're just gonna probably not watch it and then just dismiss it anyways. So let me go out of my way to do the research for you. You don't really care. Why am I gonna argue? It's obviously silly. Because it's most people. I don't like to argue. I like to have constructive conversations. Do they turn into arguments sometimes? Yes. But constructive conversations don't really take place anymore. It can't. No, because people are just shoveling and vomiting up. They're regurgitating nonsense. It's like regurgitating food like a baby birdie. That's what people do. Nobody has anything useful to say anymore about anything. And anybody does, throw them into the crazy bin. Throw them in the crazy bin with other stupids. Goofies. Okay, there you go. Interesting. Interesting that you say that, Skull. I had made that, not in that way, but I'd made in some earlier videos. I'd kind of come to that point that maybe that's a good thing. I mean, what would you do? What do? You clean out weeds. Like, people are gonna live, people are gonna expire. What do you just? Do you not tend to the garden? What would you choose to keep in the garden? Beautiful plants that are nourishing and splendor, a redundant splendor of magnificence, or that feeds people, or just damn near useless weeds that have no real quality use. And it's like, a lot of people said this whole thing was an IQ test. If you go and get the thing, you have a very low intelligence. It's just what it is. I feel very sorry for, like, you read some stories like, oh, now these adults are like making their kids go and like, wow. I gotta feel sorry for the kids. But on the brighter side of that is, they should have stronger developed immune systems already. That maybe they can, maybe they'll process that and it won't affect them. Who knows? But it could be. It could be just like, just frying out circuit boards. Honestly, why not? I mean, if you got to look at the bright side. If you got to, what's up, John Shore? I haven't seen you in a little bit, man. What's up, pee-pee drinker? Yeah, Skull. Yeah, the whole thing I think is play Mr. Brightside here, because I don't like playing the half empty, half full. What's in the negative? What's in the positive? But like, not to be, I don't want to be a pessimist. I don't want to be don't be a pessimist, but don't be blind, kind of thing. Like, so maybe perhaps the finer point of this is what do you? But if we use what's going on as a mirror, and the television as a mirror. Now, is it projecting the thing as a, how to put this, is what we see on TV a reflection of our consciousness and our society as a whole, or is it influencing society to become more like what they're projecting through the images? Yeah, see, so what came first, the donkey or the donkey doo-doo? You know, um, I did not. I'll look into that, John. I will not be saying such words on here though, because I don't want to get this trashed. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that, John, that's about the, that's the only, that's about the best solution you could find at this point. I mean, everything else can be helpful. I mean, the things we've always talked about. If you have, and you know somebody that has, like, the best routes are activated charcoal, clay, um, antifungals, antibacterials, uh, garlics, onions, wormwoods, lots of urine. I mean, that's, you got to flush things out of your system. That's the, and hopefully whatever might be in there. And I've heard this too is, if it does happen to have anything that is technological, get a zapper. Get one of those. Who did it? Is it Hulda Clark? Based on the Royal Raymond Rife work, basically electrical impulses through the system. Or you get a TENS machine, TEN, that might do something. It's definitely throwing electrical, but it's not as specific of a frequency generator. If you guys don't understand what I'm saying, you should. Royal Raymond Rife machines. And then TENS machines are basically they kind of tense your muscles up, but you could fry circuits with that, or magnets. Get yourself a the biggest magnet you can, you know. Screw with that all over your body. You can heal things with magnets. Should look into which direction you need to put them. I forget if the south or the north goes towards whatever, but that can help with a lot of things just in general, considering what we are as electromagnetic beings. Or maybe the goal is to not be electrical and not be magnetic. Be purified source code material, which is just water and ether and plasma. You know. Yep. There we go, man. Yeah, I've already my channel already got lambasted because of that. The glue. Okay. Coffee enemas. That's always been a thing, John. Yeah. Okay, I'll look into that. Graphene oxide depletes the glutathione. Okay. The purple, yeah, and the purple plates is. I've been looking into the purple plates, which are the Tesla stuff. But again, anybody that, I mean, I think most people have come to the conclusion that Tesla, if he existed, which I don't think he did, I think he was an actor, perhaps. If he did, he wasn't inventing anything. He was backwards mapping the whole thing. He was, if he was figuring out how the technology worked that was already in place, which is, you know, still cool, but I'll look that up, John. Megatons Sinar. Uh, yes. Oh, there we go. Here's a big one for people. And I've been going on about this. Everybody's like, "Well, we need iron in our diet." It's like, no, not really. I think that's the joke. I think that's one of the biggest jokes. And then by jokes, I don't mean joke at all. Um, Watch the movie Iron Man, and what that's talking about is like the Iron Age. We're in the Iron Age. The Iron Man, iron rusts. So what do you think? What do you think's happening in your body? Iron is rusting. You wouldn't want rust in an engine. You you wouldn't want rust in an electrical system, electromagnetic system. You wouldn't want rust in there. Wouldn't work. It wouldn't help. So what would be rusting would be the iron. What does your body? How much iron, if you need any? How much does your body really? Without, don't go look at scientific journals and this and that, and this does this. I'm talking about literal, if in the plant life or even animals. Where is iron coming from? It seems to be spent material from another age that was burnt and already used and turned into something. Iron has use for sure, but I think aren't we supposed to be moving on from that age, at least to the Bronze Age? Some people suggest we go directly to the Golden Age. I don't know about that. I think we go to the Bronze Age. Bronze and silver thing. I think we'd go that way. But a lot of people say, nah, we go to the Golden Age. We'll see. Either way, I'm good with either one because the Iron Age is kind of, you know, if most people here haven't just checked out of reality, like I'm still here. I haven't completely checked out of this reality because I'm here to teach people. Because if there's any of this reality left, here, let me here's some more information if this will help you. You know, but other than that, like I mean, from a standpoint of everything else, oh, I checked out of this reality a long time ago. What good is here? Hey, there's some beautiful things and there's some great things here. Nature and there's old the architecture and everything's going on now. Technology, computers, great, wonderful. But all in all, it has really done a number on people's brains. People's brains are toast. And not the good kind. Not like a heavily buttered piece of spent grain, freshly baked sourdough bread. Spent grain sourdough with a bunch of butter on it. I'm not talking about that kind of toast. I'm talking about like just toast. Did you? Oh, well, you know what? I just watched a bunch of Rick and Morty. So, yep. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even know why I just took these off because I've been wearing them all night. I've been rocking these. I just been feeling comfortable with them on. I've liked the weight of them. But I do think that if the plasma thing happens out there, because I've already seen some weird things happen electrically and in storms and things that I'm just like, nah, that's not normal. Which I'm cool with because the air smells different. It's not just like a normal rain and shower. It's like, whoa. And I've already seen some weird things. But I don't think I would wear these if an actual full-on plasma shit happened. Like the skies and I would take these off. I would, however, drink a lot of urine and stay to where things are grounded very well. Things that stone, certain types of stone, wood. Silver's where it's at. Yeah. I hope so. I mean, for people that are doing it, I, however, haven't invested any because I don't have any money to invest. But I haven't invested anything into the idea of any of the metals themselves, because I think, how do I know what's going to be tradable? If they're going, if by purpose, man does this, or by it's just the changing of the ages and the energies change because that's how the system upgrades, that the whole, as soon as the whole electrical system of the grid gets fried out, I mean, who's trading gold and silver? Why? For what? How do you know what it is? It's going back to some time, like, why does that have value? What am I going to do with it? I mean, if they do fry it, which is, it seems like your boy Warren Buffett just came out, and if Warren Buffett's talking, you should be listening. And he straight said there was a couple things about to happen. He was talking about the reset. He was talking about a lot of ways. So after that, like, what's going to be important to people? I don't know. I just don't think it's going to be gold and silver. I think perhaps if there's any objects, perhaps it will be crystals, perhaps it will be copper. But I don't think people will have any use for gold and silver. Silver, from a sense of a medicine standpoint, using it as antimicrobial and all of that, and what it does healthy for the body, sure. But John Shore. Yep. Well, funny enough, I was running around naked all weekend. So, well, week would be my weekend. My week is kind of the weekend, or my weekend is the week-ish kind of. If that makes sense. I do more of my thinking and working on the weekends, even though some people might not see it that way. When everybody else is out playing, I'm studying. Like literally, even if I'm out playing too, I'm diving into how I see things and psychology and interaction and I'm taking an anal probe. Oh wait, I'm taking the temperature of the culture. Ah, Skull, interesting. Maybe they switched to AC instead of, what do you think, it was DC before? Well, the original system was already AC anyways. If we're looking at the sun and the moon as the two poles of the system, or even using the two poles and the Earth as the ground. I mean, was even using the ether and the plasma as the conduit for all of the energy. We still had it was not monopole. So I mean, perhaps they could just maybe they can just see. My thought too was whenever you see these ghost cities like in China and all that, and it's like, oh, they built it for nothing. No, I think they know what they. I think they probably have that firewalled off. So when the whole thing pops off and grids get burnt out, they'll only be in certain places, and then they can after the event they open up the firewall because they close the firewall. Nothing's turned on in that city. Nothing's going to turn. Then they just reverse the current afterwards because if the sun's going to go in the opposite direction, it's going to change the current anyways. So then they can just the city's already built. It's already there. Go, take it out. Uh, Perhaps. And some of these old buildings, maybe some of the old buildings will start working again because maybe they didn't work because the event caused the current to spit opposite and it burned out some of the buildings or just shut down the technology, even though it's still sitting there. And now if we alter the current to instead of electrically basically if you say electric then magnetic, and if we just flip it to be magnetic then electric, if you just reverse the mindset of it of what's happening with the energy, then those systems those buildings that are everywhere in every city, those are usable again. Maybe we just couldn't use them now because of that. Just spitballing here, but no shit. Yeah, I hear you, John. Hopefully, I don't really see the markets lasting much longer. I mean, especially from the standpoint of the America, well, at least the U.S. markets, the whole not that everything isn't a lot regulated on what's going on in the U.S. markets and the inflation that's occurring here and the dollar's value and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there still is those major trading lanes of actual physical objects, and then you have like who owns what via. Like when I say, oh, China owns the U.S. a big part of it. Yeah, perhaps, but if they toast the entire system, it doesn't really matter anymore. So lots of variables on how that works. What's going to happen actually. Yeah, see, every day is the week. Yeah, but see, I work, man. I mean, I don't have a job per se, but like when people say like, "What do you do?" and I go, "Well, come and find out." Like it's not as just people are like, "Oh, your life must be so easy." Like, no, it's fucking not. It's a challenge. You don't want to deal with all of the dim-witted dumb shit that I have to deal with. It's difficult being intelligent dealing with dumb wits, but maybe I am. And also, it's very challenging not having the security of making a shit ton of money. It's not fun. It's not a fun mental challenge. It's like juggling flaming I don't know. Flaming hot Cheetos. Flaming chainsaws and with one orange that you got to buy. I mean, I don't even know, man. It's not keep your mind sharp, I guess. Yeah, Jonah. No, I didn't hear about that. I don't really get into all the politics and half the things that you talk about. I don't really. All that to me is political theater. That's political theater, man. I mean, could you learn something from that? Could you decode that? Because I doubt that happened. Skull, maybe, yeah. Well, I always here's what I think happened with because the capacitors, the capstones. So capacitors were the pyramids, and there's other buildings. Um, the reason that they blew off the capstones and things got fried out, I think they probably tried to pump too much energy into something. Somebody didn't understand the. There's only so much load you can put into a system. So you're putting like a bunch through. You got a copper wire, and you can put so much amperage through it before you blow the circuit breaker. Well, maybe the circuit breaker was too big, or maybe the wire was too big, and there was no circuit breaker. And instead of breaking the circuit breaker and just shutting that off and replacing the circuit, it blew the capacitor, which destroyed the entire system. That's what it looks like to me. Especially considering where we see all the melted buildings. Those are circuits that got melted. That's all. That's you can't get things hot enough with the fire or you know all the stuff that they're using cannonballs and they lit the thing on fire. Like, well, no, but electrically, if that because we already know that you can store energy in red bricks and all of these other things. There's piezoelectric and da da da. There's ways of heating that up to a degree. You could melt it with sound, being one of them, and using electricity. You could melt that real quick. That seems to be perhaps what happened. Especially how whenever you look into these things that were, like you see these statues sometimes. And I don't remember whose work it was. Maybe Wise Up, or maybe I think it was Wise Up. If you guys don't know, check out his channel, where he was showing that the Smithsonian had taken a statue of a Buddha, sitting Buddha, and did an MRI on it. I guess is that magnetic resonance imaging to see what if anything was inside, and that it showed there was literally bones in it. That there was someone sitting there in meditation, and that they even go through so much to say not during that thing, but the guy that was might have been flat Earth British too. I don't remember who it was, but talking about the iron oxide was actually blood. It wasn't just melted. And if we talk about our blood being iron rich and melting and burning, that's what that rust is. And that was an actual person sitting there, but it happened so instantaneously. They just turned into stone. Now that seems like a absolutely insane thing to say. Yet, if you take a hard look at what's going on and you understand a little bit of electrical engineering, you understand that the realm isn't what you think. That becomes at least plausible, if not, damn. He's just sitting there. He's grounded on the ground. They throw a bunch of current through it. There was no GFCI. There was no ground fault current interrupter. And then that guy was standing there. They were in a war. This guy's standing here, guarding the door, and that elephant's walking over here and fries the system. And they're all just and they become what we see as statues. And we carve those. Those were people. Those were beings. That's how big they were. And then some of them got fried so hard that it melted afterwards. Some of the chunks came off. I mean, that's what would happen. If you take and you fry electrical circuitry, that's what would happen. John, I think that's a pretty. I think so. I think the sun going in the opposite way is probably one of the. I think it will stall and then it's kind of like if you get to the end of the pendulum and then come back the other way, stalking the wild pendulum, Itzhak Bentov, Stalking the Wild Pendulum, from an engineer standpoint of what's going on. If we get right here, that's the sun going, and then it goes, whoop, goes the other way. This is recharging. It'll stay in infinite back and forth, but once you reach that point, that climax, then it just flips and goes the other direction. So, to me, that would say we go from an electromagnetic realm to a magneto-electric realm. That was what I would see. The primary force would be inverted. So rather than relying on combustion, it would be, combustion electricity being masculine, patriarchal. Everything is pulled in as a magnet pulls something to it. So all of the mother magnet, those words, that kind of energy that pulls something in, which is the opposite. So the spin would have to be opposite, which would then be the opposite side of a vortex. So you get two cyclones, and they're kissing noses, as Dan Winter puts it. Now we're just reversing that. So it would do a lot for people's bodies. In fact, people would probably grow differently. People that thought they were already as big as they would just start growing. Things would become lighter that were heavy at once. They used to be heavy, and now you can just pick them up. Yeah, Skull. That's why the battery got toasted. Yeah, John. Yep. Yeah, if you look at the title screen of this video, there's a the picture of the coming into the show here was of the largest temple in the world, and it's in India. And it was just interesting to see that there's four posts, a flattened thing, and then in the middle there's a dome. That's the known realm. I think that's what they're getting at when people get into where do we live? It's flat plane, it's a realm, it's whatever. They think that's where it just stops, and I don't think that at all. I think that's what has been adequately mapped. So they go, okay, here's where we've mapped to. Let's put four posts down, and here's the middle, and here's the square, here's the box that we can, because the best way we can do it is to square this off, and let's look in here, and we found that there's a dome here, and this is the outside of this, and I think that. Take a circle and square, and then circle the square, and then square the circle. Continually do that. I mean, that is pretty much how divine mathematics works. Anyways, get into like John Valo Melchizedek and get into the flower of life and the patterning of, the golden mean and all of this. Circle the square and square the circle. It's not just some Masonic thing about squaring the circle in a more. It's a more direct mathematical approach to the unfurling of reality, not just some secret square the circle. It just means that if we do this, we can angle this with the. It's not. It's more than that. Infinite realm. I guess it is. I mean, but here we have to have parameters for math to work. You can't just say infinite, because you'd be in an infinite abyss, and that would be the infinite mush. You'd be in the giant white space or the giant black space of creation. But then for your math and for your matter to work, you need to condense and contain it within some sort of structure. Could be a circle, could be a cube, could be any of the platonic solids. But the shape, there still needs to be that. So the dome would hold in, as a terrarium, it would hold in whatever's in that space. Of course there's something outside of that. But that would be the infinite thing that you don't, like that would be another form, another aspect of creation, that you can't just have all the creation going on at once. I mean, you can. I'm sure we can jump into those other realms. I mean, everybody here, I don't know about everybody, but I would say some people here at least you've been out of body. You've astrally traveled. You've been to places that definitely aren't here, not in this realm. And if you've gone through any of the wormholes, that's perhaps one of the portals, which you'd call one of the wandering stars, or And those would be portals to wherever that realm is. Maybe another sun, maybe another moon that goes into whatever that realm is. And so you just cast through that. Much like your dome, you'd be cast off the Broadman Zone 42 over here, or which then links up through your eyes to the ocular, to the dome, which is the same shape, and then we go through here to out through there and to another realm. That's kind of what it appears. Skull, you don't think we couldn't? I don't think we could. I don't think we couldn't. You don't think we couldn't? Yeah, I'm sure we can. I just think it's a matter of first we need to know what exactly is it. Is it plasma? Is it glass? Is it whatever? And there must be. I mean, what movie was it? Truman Show. He gets to the end and there finds the door. I'm sure there's all sorts of exits out of here. I'm sure they've already made them. Some of them may be open at certain times because of the clock mechanism that's happening, and they might be a physical opening at times. Other ones might just be always there that are just like, there's always a secret passage somewhere. It's always a back door to everything. It's just go over here. The people don't know about it. And then some people, we'll wait till it opens up. Like, what, there's people already in there. How'd they get in there? Well, they just went in. They went in the side door, the back door. You're waiting for the club to open up. People are already inside preparing things, and they're already in there. You can hear the music on, but the door's not open, right? Because that's the wrong door. Guys like my new headband? I keep messing with it because it's new, so it kind of slippery, slidey. I'm getting used to. I think it's pretty fresh. Funny enough, it matches my bed sheets. Hey, once in a while, even though anybody here, even though I'm really pretty fiscally broken right now, you gotta treat yourself on something. It was $3. If anybody wants to buy me a beer, or help me pay rent, or make sure my phone stays on, that'd be really awesome. And you can do that PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo, and that's beneath. It's all TSAR, capital XEN. That's at PayPal and Cash App. And the Venmo, I think it's Atman-1. You'll see it is beneath. And I do appreciate it. That goes towards these things that keep me mentally sane and balanced. 4 days a week, and the other days I kind of just chill. And it keeps a roof over my head, keeps the phone on. Pretty simple guy. Not too extravagant. Once in a while, whenever somebody tells me I stink too much, I go and do laundry. So yeah. Oh yeah. You probably did miss some pretty good stuff. We did. I ask anybody. I think we covered a lot of good stuff already. Yeah, we can continue on. I'm happy to wherever this leads us to. We were inside the realm. We got outside of the realm. We were talking about electrical currents. We were talking about statues being actual people. Getting rid of iron out of the body. How to do it. I think you might be right, Skull, about the needing so much electricity to terraform the realm. Yeah, perhaps. And perhaps as they were building it, while there's an infinite supply of anything, you still have to have a conduit to maintain that power. So you can, as big as you can make that wire, is as much as power you can get through it. You can't be trying to put, if you know anything about engineering, think about it, electrical engineering. If you have what would be called, let's say, 18 gauge wire, which could go and be a 2-prong wire, go to your lamp and just run a lamp. And then you get down to maybe not, it'd have to be probably even a little thicker than that. Get down 12 gauge. And that 12 gauge is probably with the 3-prong, it's off the back of the TV. And then you get to 10 10 gauge, a little thicker. That goes through your wall, the Romex. That's the bigger stuff. You could throw a lot of amperage to it, probably up to, I think, 50. But now just as we do this, every you get to a certain stage where it's like, well, now we need to braid things, and we need to put, you can may find a different material to run things through, because you can only run so much, and the more power that they're putting into it, you'll reach a point of saturation before all you'd have is wires everywhere. and if you did have just an open air system, where then there would just be electricity everywhere. People would just be like lit up. People just everywhere. I think I kind of like Tesla sitting in the what is it, Faraday cage? There's electricity going everywhere. I mean, a Faraday cage is the inversion of what a piece of orgonite is. Orgonite collects energy. Faraday cage represses it from going into something. So you put an electrical device inside of a Faraday cage so that the power stays away from it. It hits it and goes away. Where orgonite pulls energy to it. Good, bad, and different. I don't know if there's a specific energy that pulls in, but definitely what you'd call negative energy. So I guess it's positive is negative. See, in the electrical realm, where if you go out somewhere and you go to where there are waterfalls. So go to Niagara Falls, and all of those rocks there, they're piezoelectric. And so as the water's falling, the power of it is hitting that, and it's spitting off negative ions into the atmosphere, and you smell it, and everything smells fresh. It smells like, I have an ionizer over there. If I turn that on and turn the ionization on, just it's an air cleaner and an ionizer. It electrifies the things in the room, and it causes a type of static. But that's a static discharge, which is there's static electricity everywhere anyways. But that would just end up being the entire realm, which is maybe where it started. And they started to take this static electric realm and put it into things and shape and mold things. Maybe it was the opposite. Gary Baxter, thank you, man. Appreciate it. What's up, Ryan? What y'all doing? Pyramids everywhere. I mean, can you even imagine? I've never looked it up, but how many pyramids do you suppose there are in the earth? No, I'm not talking. You could probably look it up. They'll probably give you a number, but then you have to add to that all the ones that are still buried, the ones that look like just mounds, the ones that were melted, the ones that are seriously buried, like maybe triple the number, maybe even more. I mean, think about how many places do we see as mountains or something, that we just go, oh, there's caves in there. Those aren't caves. Those are hallways for old buildings that used to be used for multiple things. So how many buildings are there? Well, that's actually a building. That used to be a pyramid, and it melted, or it's buried. So how many of those generators do they have? So you have places that were capacitors, and then you have places that were generating, and then holding, and then you have smaller. Just look up electrical engine. Just look up a schematic of electrical grid, electrical engineering, and a computer chip, a computer board, Mother Earth motherboard, and you'll start to go, oh, so that does that. Just look at its function. The same thing's happening out here, just on a much larger scale. So when people say you're living in a computer, no, they're living on a computer, not in one. I mean, in a sense, we're inside. If you'd say the dome, so maybe you're in a computer, but you're not. It's not like somebody says you're in a computer. It's like in a computer, perhaps maybe it's a simulation, but in a sense, we live on top of a computer board. I think that's beneath us, causing all of the energy and charge. Crazy, but perhaps. It seems more reasonable than everything else. It seems like the most reasonable answer at this point. Well, thanks, Finn. What's up, Novel? What's up, Novel Solutions? Pyramids in Scotland. I mean, there you go. I mean, just think of places that you would not associate with pyramids. Start looking. If you guys want to do a little research, help me dig into this. Start looking into where. Think of places you've never heard of pyramids being at, and then saying pyramids in that country, that city, and then maybe mounds or things. And if you look at mounds and mountains, you might be able to make a. You could just, oh yeah, that's definitely is a pyramid. That definitely was. And how close is it to? Then you have like villages and things like this, or dead villages. Like, where did everybody go? What happened to them? Well, maybe because the power from the major source that was at the time basically put through the aether, because they don't need electrical lines. Maybe that got shut off. So what are they going to do? And they don't. What were they relying on that for power? But not. I mean, and especially if it got fried, if some of the things got fried out, then what's around them? They're not close enough to. Excuse me, for vegetation and excuse me, Bert got in the building. um, I was trying to be polite and act like I'm classy or some shit. How dare I do that? You can't just sound smart all the time. And besides, I don't look very smart drinking this stupid beer with this headband on and this shirt, but you gotta trick people. Anyways, so I was getting at it. So these small towns that are on the outskirts, where they would just had to go to somewhere else, unless they all got fried too. But they had to go somewhere where there was foliage, a garden, water. By Queen Victoria and her husband Prince Albert. Hey, what do you know about Prince Albert's skull? I was just talking about that yesterday with somebody. I don't know how these weird conversations come up. We are all biorobotic nanobots. I mean, yeah, hey, Finn, you got to be right. How lame do you have to be? How lame do you have to be named after a hole and rod shoved through the tip of your penis? If you guys didn't know, that's what a Prince Albert is. It's when you get an earring in your dong. Never understood it. Yeah, Skull, I bet you do. Do you for real? You seem like somebody that would. Like just straight through or through the urethra? Like a door knocker or a bar? That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Mm. I think one of my older neighbors has one too, because he was in a band. He's like, I don't know how old he's got to be somewhere in his 50s, but just a rocker dude. He's got big gauged earrings and like a lip ring and like just hardcore, drinking beer, smoking. He just looks like somebody that's got a 10 gauge through that. Oh, great. Glad we get to these parts of these chats here. Biorobotic nanobots. Yeah, I mean, getting into Westworld and the past civilizations that were, we would call them synthetics. But the thing is, if our last realm is what we're looking at the end of the last realm, where everything was synthetics, and that was the higher form, and they were made of silicon, because silicon is for all in every realm that the way you can look at it, it's of a higher order of carbon, and we are the carbon creatures. But are we also? Are we just not told? Because they tell you though that your bones are crystalline. That your quartz crystal kind of. You can always talk about these crystals, crystal skulls, and things like this. So maybe we are already part half and half. We're hybrids. I've always said we're hybrids. I was saying hybridized in a different way, but in that way, half silicon, half carbon. So what is always the story? It was the god, and then the daughter of men, right? And the god was the silicon god, higher order. It doesn't need food. Usually just using ether. These superheroes never eat, you know. And then you got the humans that were carbon-based creatures that were supposed to be slaves. And then the half-breeds, the hybrids, were half human, half god, meaning half silicon, half carbon. Could that not be the answer? Perhaps it is. I'm going to go with that. That sounds right. They get like the framework of the silicon creatures, but with the whatever extra you get from being carbon. I mean, when I say carbon based, I mean, let's go one deeper on this. We're not carbon based system, but if what they're trying to do is tax carbon and they want to eliminate carbon, it means they want to eliminate you. If you're a carbon creature, carbon is 666, you are the beast. If you're a carbon creature, they want to tax you and then delete you from this existence. Because you're not a god, you're not a silicon god, you're not a silica god. Silicon, silica, silicon. You're a carbon creature. Designed by the robots. Or the robo gods, which were... But what are they lacking that humans have? So it needs to be empathy and humor. So, at least I know I'm somewhat human because of my humorness, and I do have, I suppose, empathy. But yeah, but the God type thing, I don't know. Can you turn yourself into a crystal being? Don't they say we have a crystal body? Don't they say that over years and years of enough, if we take graphite and we take charcoal and carbon, carbon, we can compress it and put heat on it, and turns into crystals? What is crystals? It's an organized lattice that is used in computer systems. Yeah, Finn. Yep, that's really what it's been. Yeah, it's funny because I know people that are still like. Luckily, I know there's some people that I know very well that are while they're into that their story and their this is what I am thing, they still know that I know something. Some people, if they don't know me, they're not gonna listen to me. No way. There's unless somebody has already knows some stuff, they're like, oh, where did your channel come from? Those people, but there's no one that will be. I couldn't convince anybody of anything. 10 years ago, I could have convinced somebody with white gloves to eat a ketchup popsicle. You buy a ketchup popsicle, I could, but now, no. I couldn't even. You could be sweating and it's 100 degrees out, and I could offer you ice cubes and you wouldn't take it. That's where we are in the world. I'm not talking about me. I'm just talking about that's how people are so in their way. They're in their own way. As Alan Watts says, people get in their own way. Gotta get out of your own way. Whatever your way is, it's like people that read self-help books. It's the most ironic thing to me. Because if it's yourself that needs help, then it's yourself that would be helping it. But if your thing that is yourself needs help, then how can you help it? And if you're reading a self-help book, you didn't write the thing, that's somebody else, so that's somebody else helping you. That's not self-helping you, that's... Verb God. Hey, what's up, Ryan Gamble? Oh, did I send you the last link? I think he's doing a live show right now. He just did a show with Reggie Watts and what the hell is his name? Why am I forgetting it right now? Because you know what's funny is I had known of him, but I never really known of him as an individual. I knew of his music because I know other people that he's worked with. But whoever else he did it with, it was really, really, really good show. Really good, really good. What's up, Rampe? Yeah, Mark Rublett. Yeah, he's pretty funny. He's a goofball. And if you ever watch him do shows by himself, and if he does a show like at a stadium, go see it. By a second or third song, he'll have his clothes off. He'll just be standing there doing his underwear. He'll probably start with a robe on. Skull. Yes, man. Oh, that was the name of it? Or are you just saying that's an astral projection urine therapy? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll try to re-release those if that was one video. See? See? If you there's a difference. You know when someone's not bullshitting. It's a tone of their voice. Now, what I'm saying now, the reality, despite that, no one knew was going to change like where they are in their belief system because of truthiness, of authenticity of that sound, the tonal quality. It's like people. I think people right now are. You know how some people get stuck into certain kinds of music, but if you show them new music, they might like it. I think right now, people probably won't even listen to new music, no matter what. They won't like it. If you understand what I'm saying, I think their brain is so now hardwired into their system of beliefs, and that's what it is, that they probably couldn't even. If you offered them new food, I bet you they couldn't even eat it. They wouldn't want it. They wouldn't like it. They would just immediately go, no, I don't like it. New food, new music, no, don't like it. You know, like ornery old people that you try to something new, they don't want nothing to do with it. Yeah, I think people are I think they're that way now because of the thing that we can't talk about. Oh, that's the whole name of it. Okay, I'll find it. Yeah. Do I listen to Earl Sweatshirt? I know of him. I've listened to some of his music. Not currently. Like, I mean, I that's funny enough. That's who else he was working with. I can't. What's up, Divine Dispenser? Don't call me a lard. The lowered Zen. Huh. Where are we going with this? I was trying to think of the dude's name, and I'm just tripping on it, and that's why I'm kind of stuck here mumbling, going, Mark Rabelais, Reggie Watts, Flying Lotus. Jeez, why was that so hard? Flying Lotus, because he's worked with Earl Sweatshirt, and perfect. Where do we go from here? So we've talked about electronics. We talked about the realm. Never cool, man. Okay, generational curses. Yeah, I mean, well, is that more or less the sins of our father? Would that be saying the same thing? Maybe a little different. Generational curses. You're familiar with the term sins of our father? Like you're making the next realm, so the kids have to clean up after you. So like all of your ignorances become the next generation's problems. So unless you do something and solve for the greater picture, you gotta live. It's not like live for the next generation and you gotta think about the kids and all. That's not that, because that's always the kind of lean on for people. You gotta think about the kids. If you really were thinking about the kids, you wouldn't be feeding them the garbage that you feed them. You'd be showing them how to learn, and you wouldn't be sending them off to schools and doctors and all. I mean, we just wouldn't be doing these things. But they are miseducated, so their ignorances have then bled on to the next generation. It's just like, how does that exist? You know where I just was yesterday, which was awesomely funny. I was in a place that that I drove past maybe 5 houses in about 5 miles. I mean, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, maybe like 10 houses in like 3 miles. It's like country. And I think I'd seen 5 Confederate flags. Good old boys, man. I got nothing wrong with it. Like people, I understand what the flag stands for. Everybody else, they don't understand it. It's kind of like when Kanye came out and was like, "What he's talking about, the 17th Amendment and all this." Y'all don't understand. You think he's ignorant. Y'all, it's like thinking that you don't know. You don't know what they wanted to keep slaves. The North did. No, that's the winners of history wrote that. That's not what was going on. It ran a lot deeper than that. Especially, you should consider why. Why do you come places in the South that are so? You come to New Orleans. This is the South. It's always been integrated. Nobody was no like. It's not what you think. I mean, certainly you can see the areas that are cut and dry, but you know that's not what that flag was for. I was gonna do a whole video on that, but I don't need people like, well, you're about the Confederacy. I think they lost the war, man. Like, nah. That's why I say don't read a book. Why don't you study? Why don't you go get the real information? Why don't you understand how history books are written to begin with? Then go read the Underground History of American Education. Then go read the Underground History by Howard Zinn, and then the American People Underground History. I don't know how he did that title. And then go and actually read literature of from places that they have books that were written that are published still, but it was by the other side of the wars that you think occurred, which didn't occur the way you think they did, because those wars were just props to destroy old architecture and another civilization. But that's that might be a little too much to talk about for most people. Not for you guys, though. Yeah, Reggie's funny. Yeah, I think you said that the other day. I think, I remember telling you guys to watch that. If you really loved your kids, you would have them drink the piss. Whenever the kid's sitting there playing with his dong and he pees and his kids and he's like, let him do it. Don't let him eat his shit, but let him drink his piss. You do, don't you, Skull? That's hilarious. Yeah, people don't understand, man. It's a whole different thing. Wait, Divine, how do I say it? Ebrius? Sometimes, if it's just a normal passing conversation, I probably don't accentuate certain things the way I do when I'm being funny with it. Like if I say Connecticut, it's to make a point. Or if I'm at a restaurant, I may say, hey, can I get that mayonnaise? Instead of just saying mayonnaise or mayo. I say, can I get that mayonnaise? On a Wednesday in Connecticut. What's up, Johnny T's? Which one was this? Oh, that was the one on the front of this one was it's the biggest. Look up the largest temple in the world. It's in India. I thought it was pretty interesting because it's pretty much the map of the realm that all of the ancient cultures, how they drew it. They drew a flat board with the dome, and then here's the corners, and that's what they drew as what they understood as the living world, the realm, the place that we live. That's how all of the cultures drew it. And it's interesting that it's actually built that way. And there's so many of them that are built that way. Yeah. New York sounding? Well, I mean, I do. I'm more of a Yankee than anything. I guess I grew up in New York and Baltimore and more northern. But then I softened my voice up a little down here around these parts. Divine, have I ever had a dog? Yeah, I had a dog for 17 years. She just died last year, about a week before my birthday. Woohoo! Yeah, you never seen Meatwad? Oh, she was the best. Oh, Rompy, thank you. Yeah, the virtue signaling makes me just want to vomit all over myself, and using inaccurate history. They virtue signal with inaccurate history all the time. It's like the whole. Did you see the Land O'Lakes? Land O'Lakes took the. It does, there's no longer the picture of that the Indian on it. Wasn't the butter gatherer, the sun butter gatherer? It's like a woman on there. They took it off. Got rid of Aunt Jemima. Even though Aunt Jemima, if you can actually look it up, she was actually a person, and you can see pictures of her and her pancake syrup, and all of these white people loving her pancakes coming to her place. And then oh, the Washington Redskins no longer. Yeah, I mean, if you look at the history of all these things, nobody, Native Americans and these, and Aunt Jemima was Native American. Yeah, she wasn't African. They were happy to have that. Just scrub the culture that never existed. Stop it! Don't be silly. Oh, the Buddhist temple in Thailand fit a million. Maybe it's a sprawled thing, but I think I just looked up dome or something. It said the world's biggest temple. Maybe it's like difference between a single temple or maybe the height. I don't know. There's been a couple. There's been a couple of them that are really huge. Some are like whole temple complexes, perhaps, where there's like 5 or 6 different areas. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't tell how big that is because I didn't see anything to. It wasn't like here's the size of a person and a peach and here's a ferocious tiger and here's a giant elephant and here's this temple. Thank you, Johnny. Virtue signaling. Exactly. If it's a virtue, you just do it because you're virtuous. You don't need to be like, hey, check it out over here. It's like those people that come out there and they're like, they got their phone on. They're like, hey, check it out. I got $5 for this homeless guy. The guy's like, oh my god, thank you, $5. I really needed this today. He's like, hey, see what a cool guy I am? I give him $5. Woo! Check me out. I'm on my Instagram. Give away $5 to the homeless dudes. Woo! I'm so cool. It's like, if you do something nice, but it's not on the gram, did you really do it? I hate that kind of shit. Oh, maybe everything has a universal name. Universal communication. I mean, well, telepathy and sign language. But I hear you in the sounds. Just like the normal sounds could convey quite a bit. You know, chanting, bells, normal harmonics. Alpha keep singing. Yeah, yeah. You can't don't yeah, don't sing or laugh or have fun. They don't know what to do with that. What movie? What was it? Where they go? There was like a war happening, and they just go, what you need, you just make love, and they just start having sex in the middle of the war, and the war stops. They just kind of the robots in the war just kind of walk away or whatever. I don't know if it was like a spoof on something, but it was pretty funny. Yeah, buddy. So, what should I do today? I haven't seen my duck friends in a few days. I'm sure they miss me. I'll go feed the ducks in a bit. What else? What else? Maybe we'll call it a show in a second, and then come back in a bit after I get some more ideas. What do you think, guys? Call this a show. I'll be back. What time is it here? It's like 1:28, and I've done an hour, almost an hour and a half. As per usual, if you guys want to buy me a beer or help out, feel free. That'd be really awesome, as I'm quite BR-roca. CashApp, PayPal, and Venmo. There you go. It's beneath. I appreciate it. And if you have any, if all of you, if anybody here has any ideas for a show or some topics that I can think about, go into the comments of any of my videos, or I think you can go into, yeah, or just, there should be like a, see, they used to have a way to comment on something. Maybe I can set that up, because I used to be able to link you up my Instagram, but my Instagram keeps getting toasted. Imagine that. Yeah, just go underneath one of my videos and just be like, hey, do a video on this, and I'll see if I can do a little meditation on that. So I'm gonna go answer a couple emails, make a couple calls, and feed some ducks. And as per usual, guys, thanks for showing up. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. Stay weird. Do awesome things. Inspire others if you can. And if you can't do that, take care of yourself. And we will all chat soon. Be cool. Fools. Toodles.